What's up, everyone? I'm Pandora, and I want to welcome you to Different Church's YouTube campus. Now, before we get to the message, there's a couple of quick things that you can do in order to get connected here at Different Church. First off, subscribe and then tap that notification bell so you know when all the new sermons drop. Second, make us a part of your social media to stay up to date on all the happenings at Different Church. Last but not least, if you call Different Church home, visit our website at dfrnt.church. Click on the Generosity tab and give so you can be a part of the vision here at Different Church. Now, wherever you're watching, we hope that God speaks a great word into your life.
It's the vibe for me. It's your vibe for me. Take a drive on that manifesting cousin way. Nobody's quite like you. Baby, you got
Different Church, welcome! If you're a part of our 615 location, wherever you are, where you're serving at, anything like that, man, I'm thankful that you're here. But hey, if you're a part of our YouTube campus, maybe you got the link, maybe you got sent here, maybe you got this texted to you, and you don't know what you're doing. Hey, my name's Tyler. I want to welcome you to Different Church. And my prayer is that you would become everything God created you to be. He made you weird on purpose. He made you different on purpose. You look, you think, you talk the way you do, not on accident, but because God made you that way. And our vision is go somewhere different, walk down the streets that you normally don't go to the barbershop you usually don't go to, and do something different. Maybe pray for somebody, love on somebody, buy somebody something, just to reach somebody that didn't vote like you, doesn't have the same skin tone, doesn't talk like you, not from the same city. That'd be crazy. And this Sunday's a special Sunday, man. It's Mother's Day. And I don't know where you're at in your motherhood. Maybe you want to be a mom so bad. I pray that God would give you all the desires of your heart. And maybe you're a new mom and you're freaking out and you want to sleep. You don't even want these kids. Take advantage of the blessing. What does it say? That they're like arrows that you can fire into this world. Or maybe you're an empty nester and you're done in that season. Hey, you can still mother people. You still have a purpose. Even if your kids aren't around, they don't want anything to do with you, you still have a purpose to teach and to mold people. Or maybe this is a hard season for you. Maybe you've lost a child along the way. I've lost family members. I could never imagine losing a child. I know my mom and dad have, and I feel for you. I just don't know what that feels like. I can imagine. But can I just tell you, man, God wants to do something in you. You have that testimony for a reason. Not many people have that. You do. Don't let that go to waste. God turns everything for good for those who would believe in Him and are called according to His purpose. That's Romans. That's not Tyler. God wants to do something with that and in you. We're in a series. We're getting done. I think we're in week 4 of this series. It's the blank for me. And right now, it's really popular, and I think it's probably always been popular. If I look back at music whenever I was growing up and movies when I was growing up, it says, it's the vibe for me. Chasing the vibe, and I'm sure if you lived a teenage life, you know what chasing the vibe was like. It doesn't get you very far, does it? I mean, if you ask Tyler, going to the club, doing your thing, texting whoever, calling whoever, dating whoever, talking about whatever. Just the vibe doesn't last long. I need something maybe with a more firm foundation. And so the first week we talked about it's the growth for me in all my relationships, whether it's with God, with people, with my marriage, with my kids, at my job. It's the growth. All of those things will die if I don't grow. I mean, what doesn't grow dies. And so I've got to ask myself personally, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, am I growing? Or am I the same person? Because I think I said it a few weeks ago. I never want to be the person you see 5 years later still in the same spot. I want you to look at me. I want to walk, and my high school reunion's coming up. I want to walk in and them go, who is that? Because I've grown. Because I'm not the same person. I'm not a child anymore. It's the growth for me. In my marriage, in my job. Then the second one was, it's the authenticity for me. It's the being open. You cannot grow a relationship. You cannot have a thriving relationship if you're not honest, open, transparent, not just with your spouse, not just with your kids, but does God really know you? Like, I mean, I know he knows me, and you know he knows you because he created you, but when was the last time you told him stuff you've never told anyone else? Because if any of my relationships is slacking, it's usually if I see my friendships are slacking, my work relationships are slacking, my marriage is slacking, I can trace it back to one thing. My relationship with him is slacking. I've got to ask myself, am I being open? Am I saying sorry for looking at that, for saying that, for doing? Am I really letting him know everything that's in my heart? Or am I just, everything's fine? Everything's good when the whole time I'm on fire, my house is on fire, everything's burning down. It's the authenticity. Last week we talked about it's the vision. It's the future, having a vision. And we talked about, man, in Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, people die. When there's not a vision in your relationship, in your marriage, at your work, in your church, in your ministry, it will die. That's what the Bible says. And if vision is important to God, here's what I mean. You ever wanted a job so bad and you got the job and you went, oh, I don't really like this that much. The vision was getting the job, not what was after the job. You ever been in, I remember like I used to want to date these girls that were so pretty in like middle school and high school. And then whenever they'd like go out with me or I'd start texting, I'd be like, this is it? This is it? And so oftentimes we get into relationships just to get into the relationship, just to get married. I know so many people that get married just to get married. They have no vision for what it looks like after that. Well, it dies. Why? There's no vision. There's no future. There's nothing written down saying, this is what I want this to look like. And now we come today, it's the fight for me. If anything, if I need to know anything in every relationship, in every situation, I will have to fight for something. I mean, I've been married for 8 years. You know how often my wife and I fight? Hey, can I be honest? My name's Tyler. I've been married for 8 years. I pastored for like 10 years. I have a 7-year-old daughter. I have a 4-year-old daughter. My wife and I argue a lot. I say things I shouldn't say. I blow her off in ways I don't listen like I should. Can I just be honest with you? It happens. That's me. You guys probably kill it. Your marriages are probably awesome. Mine is awesome a lot of the times, but sometimes. But in every relationship, in every season, you have to, and here's what I want to change our thought process. We don't fight about things, we fight for things. Don't fight about it, fight for the marriage. Don't fight about the marriage, fight for. Don't fight about your finances, fight for your finances. We've got to shift our focus of, man, it's not me versus my wife. It's not me versus, I don't need to be right. We need to move forward. And if that's me being wrong, cool, bet, let's make it happen. Especially with me and God. Because I can tell you, when me and God start arguing, I don't know if you've ever argued with God. Maybe you're just like this awesome Christian. Me? You know who's always wrong 100% of the time in my arguments with God? Me. But the goal isn't to be right. It's not me versus you. It's us versus the situation, the storm. So we have to learn. Well, because a lot of times we want to know how to avoid fighting. Like, we get self-help books, we ask counselors, we ask pastors, hey, help us stop fighting. No. Rather than avoiding to fight, what if you learned how to fight? What if that was the goal? What if the fight was on purpose? What if the pain was part of the process and that's what you need to go through? What if you just need to learn how to fight? Because here's what I'll tell you, anytime I fight with my ego, with my pride, I make it a lot worse. I make my marriage a lot worse when I start cussing, when I start yelling, when I start getting me involved. I make it a lot worse. I don't know about you. I remember, so like 3 years ago, I was a youth guy in Miami. And they said, Tyler, we need a really cool event. This is going to be like a global youth event. We need a cool event. And you know what I thought of? What if I fought a UFC fighter and preached in an octagon and had a UFC fighter in? And you can find footage of, I guess if you just put in like Tyler Sterban fighting, it's on YouTube. So that's what we did. For a Christmas event, I had a professional UFC fighter in a cage, and I fought this guy. But in October, I met with him. I said, hey, his name's Jim. He's an awesome dude. I said, hey, Jim, can we train for like 3 months so I don't die like just immediately? Can we figure this thing out? And so he said, yeah. So in October, we started training to fight. And I remember, listen, this is important. I remember the first ever training I ever did. I walk into his gym, and he hands me these UFC gloves, and he says, here, Tyler, and I put them on, and he says, punch me in the face. I said, well, nah, bro, I'm not about to just punch you right here. I'm not about to just punch you in the face. He said, punch me in the face real quick. I said, dude, this isn't, I've got to be worked up. You know what I mean? Like, I can't just go and start swinging on somebody. And he said, well, that's your problem. He said, you only fight emotionally. He said, right now, I can punch you and hug you in the same second. He said, I'm not mad at you. I just know there's a goal that needs to be accomplished. I'm fighting somebody. I'm not fighting mad. I'm fighting to win. And he said, and whenever you do that, you fight with a clear head and an open heart. He said, so when I get into the ring with somebody and I go to fight them, if I get angry, if I get emotional, well, my strategy goes out the window. Why do you think these guys in these press conferences before the fight start talking about moms and wives and kids? Why? They want their opponent to fight mad. They want them to fight emotional. But what if, and if you look at my fights with my wife, they're definitely not clear-headed. I'm definitely not walking in with the strategy. Nah, bro, I'm just swinging. I'm throwing hate. And he says, no, you will. If you can't punch me and hug me at the same time, you're not going to be a good fighter. And I had never thought, bro, I only grew up. I fought you if I was mad at you. That's it. And he said, no, I don't fight when I'm mad. I have to have a clear head. And I think that in our relationships with husbands and wives, don't get me started at work. You get that email, that person that you hate, HR, whoever, you get that email and you know how you'll read the text, but you like read the text, like you know what they're saying within the email. With God, we get so mad, we get so worked up, and like I said, I do more damage than good. I do more bad than good when I fight. And so what if there's a purpose? What if there's a reason, and what if there is a way, rather than how do I avoid fighting in my marriage, what if I learned how to fight in my marriage? And if there's a reason for it. So if you have a Bible, turn to James. I'm on page 989. I don't know, it might be close for you. James chapter 1, 2 verses. That's it. And this is one of those verses it's easy to remember. So if you write it down or if you just want to memorize it, this is a very easy one. And this is one that I take into a lot of scenarios. Look at this. Verse 2. James 1, verse 2. Dear brothers and sisters, talking to The church, talking to Christians, dear brothers and sisters, when troubles, when fights, when storms, whatever you want to call them, when sucky times, whatever you call them at your house, when troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. I don't know if you're familiar with Frozen, but verse 4, so let it grow. Not go, grow. So let it grow, for when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, to words needing nothing. What does it say at the beginning? Look at this. Verse 2. Hey, my dude. Hey, chick, real quick. When troubles, when fights of any kind come your way. You know what it doesn't say? If trouble comes. If a fight comes. If a storm comes. No. What does it say? When. Not if, when they happen. It's telling you, hey, whoever you are, you live this awesome life. When it gets hard, don't dodge the fight. It's coming to you. You know you and your wife are going to argue again. You know you're going to doubt God again. You know, here's what I've learned. That flat tire only comes when you ain't got nothing when you can't replace it. That oil change is only needed. Those lights on your dashboard only come on when you've got $7.30. You can't even go to Taco Bell, let alone go to a mechanic. When they happen. You know your husband's going to say that thing you hate that he says when you've had a bad day. Never happens when you have a good day, does it? It's just your boss going to send you an email when you forgot to read and pray in the morning. When, not if, when the fight comes. When trouble comes. But hey, there's a purpose. There's a reason. If he's telling you there is a guaranteed fight coming your way, that means there has to be a reason for it. God doesn't just give you troubles, give you fights, give you battles just because he enjoys it. He's not just like, man, let's see if they survive. This is awesome to watch. Look at them. They suck. No, he doesn't do that. He gives it to us. Well, I mean, look. Why does he give them to us? And really, this kind of tells you, remember, I don't want to avoid fights. I want to know how to fight. I want to fight more effectively. When trouble of any kind comes your way, what does he say to do? And this trips me out. This is the most anti-Bible verse I've ever heard in my entire life. When trouble comes, consider it joy. When you get punched in the face, smile. When all your money runs out, laugh. When your relationship is on the rocks, joy. What? You read the same thing I read. When trouble of any kind comes your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. And joy means happiness. Joy means happy. So you're telling me when I get punched in the face, to smile. I don't know about you. That doesn't sit right with me. But what if, because it seems so opposite, right? Isn't God kind of an opposite God for us? The first will be last, the last shall be first. Sell everything rather than hoard it all. What if, you know why I think he's opposite of us? We see 5 minutes into the future. He sees 50 years into the future. He knows the outcome. So he's saying, hey, this is how you fight. Listen, this is how you fight. Smile. Laugh. Enjoy the fight. Why? God's got a plan for it in 50 years. So enjoy it because you know, we get to it, you know it's going to do something. I remember whenever I was fighting Jim, so we're in the ring, and the first round ended, and he was going easy on me, guys. When I say I basically was a human dummy in this ring just getting beat up, like it was that. In the second round, or in the third round, my wife goes up to Jim during the event and says, hey, Jim, really punch him one time. Okay. I didn't know that conversation was being had. I was about to die in the corner. So the bell dings, I walk back into the ring, and all of a sudden, he throws this jab, and it hits me in the chin, okay? And I literally felt like my jaw went back like 4 or 5 times. And this thing hurt. But you know what I didn't do? For some reason, and this is gonna sound so crazy, I don't know why, I smiled. My friend just punched me really hard in the face. And I remember looking at him, because I'm not mad at him. We're not fighting over it. We have a job that we're trying to accomplish. When I got hit, I smiled. He exposed something in me. And yes, it hurt. It made me mad, but I smiled. I'm not mad at him. I'm not fighting to kill him, to ruin his life, to take anything from him. We're accomplishing something. We're doing ministry. That fight you're having with your spouse, with your kids, smile. There's a bigger goal than the punch that was just thrown, than the money you just lost, than the words that were just said, and you being wrong. It's bigger than that. Smile. Consider it joy. And that's hard, right? I see 5 minutes. God sees 5 years. God sees 50 years, so he knows what's happening. Can I be honest with you? I'm not good at this. I'm not. One of the lowest times, outside of probably like if you've ever heard my testimony or my story, one of the lowest times is, and this is going to sound so, maybe you'll connect. I don't know. It was about 5 years ago. My wife and I moved back to Nashville 5 years ago. Yeah, about 5 years ago, we moved back, and a church had told us that they wanted to start a church and they wanted us to do it. So we pack up, we move, and after we moved, they stopped returning my phone calls. A little shady. I've been ghosted by females before, so this was nothing new, but I'm like, I kept calling, they kept ignoring, and I was like, I think I really just moved my family out here for no reason. Like, they really played me. So I'm kind of, you're kind of in your feels, whatever, and then a church calls me. And they said, hey, Pastor Tyler, we're familiar with you, all this stuff. We have an opening for a lead pastor position. And obviously, we're a different church, so you know how this goes, but come along with me. So they said, will you drive out? Will you preach on a weekend and then meet the team and all this stuff? And so we drive out, we pay for everything, we get there, we preach. And I remember looking at Ryan going, I think this is it. I think this is where God wants us. And for about a month and a half or 2 months, we started and I don't know if you've ever gotten your hopes up about stuff, you start looking at houses, you start saving up to buy interior stuff, you're all in. And we're doing this and everything's going good. And then I remember it was a Monday morning or something, I wake up and I had this feeling in my gut. And I told Ryan when she woke up, I said, they're not going to take us. I really did feel like God gave, I really did for a season. And then all of a sudden, like, I just woke up and he was just like, nah, this isn't it. And I remember all week, I knew that a phone call was coming. Even though no one told me, I knew a phone call was coming. And it was like a Thursday or a Friday, I got a call. So I answer and he said, hey, bro. And I knew the answer already. He said, hey, man, we're deciding to move on. We don't think that you're it. And I remember where I was. I just went to my car. I sat in my car. And you have to think, this was all within like 2 months. I moved here for somebody to not want me, then to get my hopes up, look to buy a house, look to do all of this stuff. And I know that this may sound so irrelevant. Dude, I was so insecure. Like, who wants me? There must be something wrong with me. And I remember being in a, I remember for like 2 or 3 weeks, like really like kind of shutting off. Like, you know how you can just like, you're just a robot. You just walk around, but I wasn't even I wasn't feeling anything. I literally was just a bag of flesh just walking around. Now we're like 4 or 5 years out from that. And I know that this is going to sound crazy. It was the best thing that ever happened to us. It was honestly, I am so glad it didn't happen. But for weeks, months, I was still a little bitter, still a little insecure. I saw 5 minutes into the future. I saw getting punched in the face for 5 minutes. God had a purpose, because if you would have known what would have happened after that, where we went, what all I got to do, man, I'm telling you, it was the best, but I didn't see that. The fighting now, I don't see the product of it. You know who does? You know why he says, consider it great joy when you get punched in the face? You know why? He sees it. He said, Tyler, dude, chill, consider it joy. You're gonna thank me later. If you find yourself in that season, you just keep getting punched, laugh, smile, consider it joy. Why? God's got something. He's got something. And look what he says, and look what it does. This is, well, I mean, here you go. Not Tyler's words. Let's go back to James. When troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity. Hey, smile, laugh, enjoy the fight, enjoy getting punched. Why? For you know that when your faith is tested, you know that when you're tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. It says when your faith is tested. So I just was thinking about, man, you remember Scantrons? You remember doing Scantrons? When I don't know where you're from, the secret here was, if you didn't know the answer, what was the letter that you put? C, baby, C. That was supposed, I don't know why, I don't know how, but when your faith is tested, you know what a test tests you on? Everything you've already learned. Not new material. It tests you on stuff you know, stuff you've learned. When God puts you through a test, don't freak out. You've been through it. You know. Just settle. You don't test on stuff you've never learned. He's saying when your faith is tested, when everything I've brought you through, when you go through this, you've been through it before. You've been through it before. But my favorite part, look at this. When your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. Your endurance. Your endurance. You know what? You know what like ends fights more than a punch? You know how you know someone's gonna lose a fight? when like the second round of the fight, they're tired. Your endurance, listen, when you step into a fight, endurance matters. How long you can go. The devil doesn't have to beat you. He just has to outlast you. We have to be bounce back believers. Bounce back every time you get hit, because it's guaranteed. Bounce back when the finances are hard. Bounce back when your marriage is hard. Bounce back over and over, because as you get punched, as you get hit, as you go through something, it's making you stronger. It's making you, your endurance is growing. The punches don't hurt as bad. Consider it joy, because your endurance has a chance to grow. But man, we get hit one time and we act like the end of the world. Oh, I'm done. Get a second job. Got to. I can't pay one bill. I'm done. No, chill. Take another punch. We got into one fight. We just got married. There's no way. Chill. You're going to get punched a lot more. A lot more. Your business you thought was going to work out, that friend you thought you were going to keep talking to, that person that stabbed you in the back, you got fired. All of these things is going to happen. You've got to bounce back over and over and over again. You've got to. Why? It's making you stronger. It's making you so. That's what he says, right? This isn't me. This is God. Your endurance has a chance. It has a chance to grow. And then look at the very end, and then we're done. What does he say? So let your endurance grow. That means get punched in the face. It's almost like that's the point. That's what he wants to do. So let the punches come. So let it grow. For when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete. 2 words, needing nothing. So you mean the more I fight, the less I need. The more punches are thrown, the less stuff I need in my life. I don't know about you. I don't know how you grew up. I didn't have money. I didn't grow up with money. I still don't have money. But I've definitely been more broke than I am today. You know, I'm kind of thankful for that. I'm thankful for that. You know why? When God has blessed me financially, I don't need as much. I know what I can get by with nothing, okay? I know what it's like, and maybe only some people will know, when the nicest thing you can make is tortilla chips and sprinkled cheese and throw that thing in the microwave, and that thing hits better than anything you've ever had in your life. So when I am blessed, when I do walk in a new avenue in life, when God starts pouring stuff into my life, do I need all that? No. I don't need as much. I know what it's like when my wife and I argue we went through a season that was really hard, so now I was punched before, now I know what I'm capable of. Remember, it's almost like there's a purpose to the punches. It's almost like there's a purpose to the pain. You're going through it for a reason almost, right? And so that's my prayer. I don't know who you are, where you're watching from, what kind of punches are being thrown your way. I have no idea. But what does he say? So let it grow. Let it grow. Really, he's saying, hey, get punched. How do I fight? With joy. That sounds so crazy, dude. Smile. When you get hit, smile. When your marriage gets hit, smile. When your finances, smile. Let it grow. That's my prayer wherever you are. Maybe you've been trying to learn. You've been reading every self-help book in the world to try to avoid fighting, avoid financial trouble. What if that's, I know this is going to sound crazy, and this is kind of almost anti-Tyler a lot of times. What if that's what needs to happen? What if that is a part of your process? Because I never would have learned how to fight if I never would have gotten punched one time. But you just want to avoid it. You want to avoid all confrontation. You're just fine with where you're at. No, God's got more. It's the fight for me. It's the punch me. It's the fight for me. And God's going to do something. God's going to grow you. God's going to change something in your mind, in your heart. You just can't be scared of just getting hit. That's it, isn't it? Because punches don't hurt like 10 minutes after you get hit. They hurt in this moment. Those words hurt in the moment. But you can cause more damage later on because of how you reacted to the punch. So that's my prayer, that your endurance would grow, because remember, the enemy, the devil, doesn't have to beat you today. He's just going to wait a year from now, when he's just jabbed at you little by little by little, your marriage, little by little by little. If you ask anybody that gets divorced or their business goes under or they leave the ministry, they leave church, it's not one thing. If you ask them, they'll go, well, back in 1987, and then they move forward. The enemy didn't have to beat them in 1987. He just started punching them in 1987. Whenever you got married, that's when he started punching at your marriage. Joy, joy. I choose joy. God, I love you. I'm so thankful for the relationships you've given me, the marriage you've given me, Thank you. I don't deserve it. Yet, 2,000 years ago, you sent your son for me. You died for me. You died for my marriage. You died for my finances. You died for my future. You died so that I could have a life and have it abundantly. God, I pray that I would just allow for my endurance to grow, that every punch I take, that I would smile, every jab I would take, that I would laugh, that I would find joy in the pain. So God, that I can find myself better you see 50 years from now, you know why I'm going through what I'm going through. You know why they're going through what they're going through. You know why we don't. But allow for us to smile in the pain, smile in the punches. God, we love you. We're so thankful. We're so thankful for you. In Jesus' name, and everybody said, amen. Hey, what's up? My name's Tyler, and you are a part of our Different Church YouTube campus. And I just want to say thank you. I'm the pastor here. And here's a few things that you can do to stay a part. 1, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Be alerted anytime something drops or releases. We want you to be a part. We want you to be encouraged and inspired and figure out what your different is. But maybe you want to tell your auntie, your uncle, your cousin, whoever. Maybe you want to send that, just share it. Because what I've learned in ministry, people will open a link to a church long before they ever open the door to a church. And maybe you're on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. Follow us, Different Church Nashville. Be a part. See what we're doing every single day. And maybe, last but not least, you're an OG. You're a real one. You really want to get plugged in. All you got to do is go to different.church. That's DFRNT.church to find out more about us, the church, how to give, how to be a part, all of that. But I love you, and I will see you next video.